With most MMOs, it's relatively simple to know when you've reached Endgame, or you've completed everything you can and have essentially won the game. There's also a pretty clear point where you no longer consider yourself a new player, and you know when you're doing main content in the game. I'm Buckland Fondue, and I'm currently making my way through the world of EVE Online. And right now, I want to know, what is EVE's endgame? Does it have a "I've won" moment? And when is someone no longer a new player? When I first started EVE Online, I thought the endgame was essentially boiled down to just flying the largest ships, namely Titan-class ships. Now, these take literal years of training just to fly and properly fit, since EVE Online uses real-time skill training, not to mention the billions of in-game currency to build and fit, while other MMOs consider raiding or high-end dungeons to be their endgame. This means that if a person were to focus and heavily play that game, they could theoretically be done in under a month. But in EVE, getting into the biggest ships is not the endgame. It's not even a goal for many players outside of large null security space alliances. So what is the endgame? As far as I can tell, it's two things. The first is whatever your next goal may be. This is a sandbox MMO where you create your fun, which means the endgame is what a person makes of it. Is it to have the most kills in faction warfare, build your own station, fly a capital ship, or maybe it's just make a ton of money? The other one is just to hang out with friends. For them, if they're on Discord chatting with people, that's good enough for them. And it doesn't matter if they're shooting ships or mining rocks, they're having fun. And that is their endgame. So if the endgame is always changing for each individual, how do you win? EVE Online has been out for 21 years, and many players have been playing for a good portion of that, sinking thousands of dollars and thousands of hours into it. So it makes sense, I guess, that many people consider the only way to truly win the game is to quit and never come back. But a popular saying within the world of EVE is that you never truly quit. You just take different lengths of breaks. One player recently made headlines by allegedly quitting the game in a more permanent manner. If you have nothing to come back to, maybe you won't come back. If there's no end game and no way to really win, how do you know when you're no longer a new player? Or when to consider yourself an expert, or even any good, for that matter? While playing the game, I would get such contracting responses to things, such as what to fit or what ship to fly. While out exploring in a scanning ship, I would tell people that I'm new and ask what to fit and fly, and many responses would be for things that require months of training to even get into. Or while looking for a corporation, I would see within their description, they would state that they're new player friendly, but also to join, you must be able to fly and fit a certain ship. Again, one that would take quite some time to even train up. So what do they consider a new player? That is aside from the fact that trying to talk to a veteran EVE player is difficult. Have you ever listened to a conversation between two people talking about a job they've done for years? It's gibberish. Over half of what they're saying is abbreviations or inside jokes or stories going back over 20 years. Like, what's JSpace? What are rats? Who the f*** is Bob, and why should I know them? So often, these players will speak to you assuming you know these inside tales and the abbreviations. But just like talking to a longtime banker, lawyer, or military personnel, they don't even know they're doing it. I recently asked on the EVE Reddit page what they consider a new player to be. Some people felt that it boiled down to what your level of understanding was, and you would essentially stop being new at a particular topic you focused on, but would likely still be new at everything else. One person stated it well, commenting that if you were to jump into an avenue of the game and be self-reliant, knowing what ship and fitting to use in a particular situation and what to do to complete your task effectively, you would no longer be new in that. As for an actual time frame, the vast majority of people put that into years. plural. For skill points, it was usually anyone with less than 20 million. That explains that people expecting a new player to fly higher tier equipment than I could at just 5 million skill points. While everyone else said that you never stop being new. As for myself, I'm constantly finding out new things by doing them wrong first. I found out that sites you go to in faction warfare are called Plex, which was very confusing as the game's premium currency is called that. I was confused when people were asking to go and run Plexes. I found out that you don't have to accept everything in your daily login. You could leave some things like boosters and just accept them when you're planning to do that particular activity. Or while in faction warfare, I jumped in on my faction doing a battlefield site and decided I would help kill the NPC by getting in close, webbing, and shooting it, only to get scolded. They said, you don't kill them. You let them fly themselves out of the circle and you just sit and wait to collect your loyalty points. But to add to that new player feeling, I just read that will be changed in this expansion because those NPCs will now stay in the circle. So a thing I just learned is getting immediately replaced. I sometimes do find it tough to be a very new player in EVE, not just because this game has so much to learn and your failures can be costly, but because I often don't see a lot of new players. I know I just went on about every player being new and a new player is someone under 5 years, but I mean new. Even when I see a character younger than I am, I found out it's because it's that person's third alt, meaning they could have tons of bot skill points, be using the paid-for expert system, or have billions of ISs to use on whatever they want, not to mention the in-game knowledge. But I guess, honestly, any new player could still buy all of those things with real-world money. But it all just adds to a level of dauntingness to a game already as daunting as EVE. This is what I was looking for in an MMO. It's a genre of game that requires a massive level of commitment and time investment. And I wanted to invest my time into a game that has lots to invest into and will be around for years for me to enjoy it. It's why you see so many YouTube videos and Reddit posts about whether or not a game is worth playing in said year. People want to invest their time into a game worth investing into. Before I go, I was talking about every player has goals, and I thought I should share mine before I go. My main goal, or main quest, not a side quest, is to effectively fly the Amarr battleship, the Abaddon. I think it looks so cool. At this point, I'm not even sure what I'll do with it, but I am going to fly it. That is my main goal right now. That's my end game. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe or check out some more of my videos on the channel. Well, that's it for me. See you out there.